obviously is about Lag Baomer. What is Lag Baomer? The importance of Reb Shimon Bar Yochai in Lag Baomer, and why is it specifically on the 33rd day of the Omer? And why are we always celebrating? Most of us are not learning Kabbalah, so we're celebrating this huge celebration on Lag Baomer. And also, how does it relate to the whole series of happenings that start from Pesach and end on Shavuos? To start off, I would like to first just emphasize three things that one of the earliest Sfarim ever written is the Sefer Yetzirah, which was written by Avraham Avinu. Sefer Yetzirah from Avraham Avinu has been accepted universally. It is written very much in what we'll call a cryptic code. It's very much a davar sasum ad ma'od. There's many perushim on it. The Gra has a well-known, accepted pirush. There are many Rishonim who also wrote pirushim on it. There's a Ravid, there's a Rav Haigain, the many Mefarshim. It's also written there for those who know how to read it, how one can create a Gailam, which of course we won't discuss. Sefer Yetzirah Mishnah Aleph, Perek Aleph Mishnah Aleph states, in the last two lines of the Mishnah, Ubara Esay Lamai, V'Sefer, V'Sefer, Usfar. It uses three Lashonos of Sefer. And it says that Rabbeinu Shalom Bara Esay Lamai means Hashem created the world with those three things called Sefer. Obviously, there's a large amount of Mefarshim on it, but I would like to bring it into today's world a little bit, and we'll call it current events. Current events being Yetzias Mitzrayim, which we celebrated Pesach a month ago. The result says that on the first night of Pesach, we got what we call Moichem Chadashim, which is newfound light, newfound revelations, which all came to us on Pesach night, and which gave us the ability to become Klal Yisrael. That's what's called the birth of Klal Yisrael, which happened on Pesach night. And that's why there's an Indian of Sipur Yetzias Mitzrayim and V'higarat Halavincha. We have to continue it for generations. Obviously, this tradition that we have of Am HaNivchar has to be carried over generation to generation, as we see in the Churban America, how many generations we lost because they weren't giving over the Darkei Avos. But the Arizal continues to say that we get these tremendous new kaiches because we are a brand new nation that was just born, and at the same time, we lose it after the first day of Pesach. All these new lights, all this new Kabbalah that we got, we lose it all on the first night of Pesach, which is why we start counting Sfira the second night of Pesach, because now we're going to count 49 days in order to reach what we'll call the 50 Share Bina, Nun Share Bina, that we go up the ladder, so to speak, until we reach the peak. And the peak is, of course, Leil Shavuos, where we then Mekabel the Torah. What else? We see that the mitzvah of that night is called Sfiras. It's called Sipur Yetzias Mitzrayim. It's not called an Amira. It's not called a Dibur. It's only called Sipur Yetzias Mitzrayim. Why is that? To emphasize Ubara Esay Lamai, that Hashem created the world with a Sipur Yetzias Mitzrayim, which is a carrying on of our Maila of being part. And we go to the next phrase, the next part of Sfiras Ha'omer. Sfiras Ha'omer is the only time, and you don't see it in the Ashkenaz Sidurim, but you definitely see it in the Sfar Sidurim, the way it talks about the actual spheres. There are 10 spheres which are well known, which is, in abbreviation, it's Kachab Chagas Nehim, which stands for Keser, Chochma, Bina, Chesed, Gevura, Tiferes, Netzach. In the Sphira, the first Sphira Ha'omer is Chesed Sheba Chesed, and then the next one is Chesed Sheba Gevura and Chesed Sheba Tiferes, and then you go to the next week, and you start off Gvura Sheba Chesed, and Gvura Sheba Gvura, and Gvura Sheba Tiferes, and Gvura Sheba Netzach, and Gvura Sheba Hayd, and Gvura Sheba Yisayid, and Gvura Sheba Malchus. So we go through 7 weeks of 7 days each, which is Keneged Shiva Nikiyim. We considered the Kala, that we're going to stand in front of Har Sinai by Matan Torah, and we are the Kala, and every Kala has to go through 7 clean, by us it's 7 clean days, by Klal Yisrael it's 7 clean weeks, and then we reach the Madrega of Nun Shari Tumah through 49. You see it also in Shemitah, we see it in many other things, 7 days in a week. The ability to reach a higher Madrega always comes through 7, because that's the 7 spheres Tachtonis, that the lowest one being the Malchus, but the advantage of the Malchus is that is Gilui, that's the revelation. Because the spheres themselves are very hidden. We don't really understand. If you take things a little bit further, so we go back again to Sefer Yetzirah, Ubay bara esaylamai. The Sefer, we said, was Sefer Yetzias Mitzrayim, Usvar, same Lashon, Sfiras Ha'omer, and the third one is Matan Torah. Ubara esaylamai, the tachlis of the Bria is only for the creation of Klal Yisrael. And Klal Yisrael is the purpose for the entire world. So this Ubara esaylamai was for us, Klal Yisrael, to be born Pesach night. 2, when we lost all our tremendous koiches from Pesach night, and we have to regain and lift ourselves up to that madrega of Kabbalah Satira. That's the 49 days of the Sfira. Then we reach the madrega of Matan Torah, and as we know, Klal Yisrael is called people of the book, is B'Sefer. You have a Sefer Torah. Last time I looked, the Sefer Torah was not written as a Sefer. It's written on cloth, it's rolled up, it's not in a Sefer. However, it's still called Sefer. It's called the Sefer Torah, and that's a reference to this that we see in the Sefer Yetzirah of the 3 Lashonos of Sefer. Where does Lag BaOmer fit into this? And I'm basically just going to quote in Arizal. There is a thing which spoken about many times called Hamtokas Hadin, sweetening of the din. What does it mean we sweeten the din? Every second of every day, the Rebbeinu Shalom gives us a new din. We are judged again and again and again on a new din every single time. Every single second of every day. There's a new compilation of spheres which are ruling us every single day. A little bit you see it in every day of the sphere is called a different combination of spheres. Every second of every day is as well. A little bit of a raya l'davar, you could look at yourself and you could check your heart and you could tell me if it's beating or running. If it's running is a constant. If it's beating is a doifik. In Hebrew, a doifik, a blood pressure, is a beat. It keeps on banging. What does the banging represent to you? That any second it could stop banging. Every beat is a brand new din. Makes you realize. Now, the name of HaKadosh Baruch Hu that represents din is the name of Elikim. How do we create a hamtaka if the midas hadin, as everybody knows that during the Sfira, din is shaylet? Why is din shaylet? Because all the mazikin All the Shadim and the Klippas are all trying to get us. They don't want us to get to Kabbalah Satorah. They don't want us to renew it every year. They want to put blocks in our way. So din is shaylit. So the one day of the entire sphere that din is not shaylit, that is the day of Lag BaOmer. And how do you see that in the name of Elikim? Says the Arizal that the way it works is if you take the name Elikim, the rule is that anytime you go back one letter, anything that's closest to the letter Aleph is the least amount of din or a lesser amount of din. So if we take the name Elikim, and what's the first letter? Aleph. Aleph, if you go back, there's no back. So you stay at Aleph, it stays the same. Let's take the last letter. The last letter is Mem. What happens with the last letter? You take the end of Mem suffix, and you go back one, and it becomes a regular Mem. But then when it becomes a regular Mem, it's the last letter in a word. So the last letter in the word, from being a regular Mem, goes back to being an end of Mem. So that Mem at the end also stays the same. So the Aleph stays the same, and the Mem stays the same. Now you have middle letters, right, which are Lamed, K, Yud, right? If you take the Lamed and you go back one, comes a Chaf. Take the Yud and you come back one, comes a Tes. You take the Hey and you go back one, becomes a Dalet. So you take now Chaf, which was a Lamed, is 20. The Yud, which became a Tes, is 9. So you're up to 29. And the Hey became a Dalet, is 4. And this spells is Gematria 33. So when do you see Amtakas Adin of the name Elikim? Amtakas Adin happens on day number 33. That's the day when there's no Din Shailit. That's the day when Rab Shimon Bar Yochai went up the Shamayim b'Sa'ara. And that was the day that he revealed to his Talmidim the tremendous koyach of Limud Kabbalah. So I ask you a question, right? If people are not learning a Kabbalah, why is everybody celebrating it? Answer is that we're celebrating the fact that it was revealed to this world, that it's open for anyone to learn. That many charamim that happened over the years, I'm not going into all the details, who should learn it, who shouldn't learn it, it's available to be learned. And that is the biggest celebration of the entire year, that we have a Chelak HaTorah of Pardes, of Pshat, Remez, Drush, which were revealed by Matan Torah. Side was also given at Matan Torah, but was not revealed till Rab Shimon Bar Yochai brought it to the masses. Therefore, we celebrate Lag BaOmer, whether we learn Kabbalah, or if we don't learn Kabbalah, but it's to the masses the ability to do it. We could reach the highest of the high. And that ability to reach such high madrigas is a huge celebration. If you look into the Zohar and the story when Reb Shimon Bar Yochai was Megala himself, so it talks about a big fire came down and circled them, which is the reason why we make the minhag to make a big Madura. On that note, everybody should celebrate Lag BaOmer, because even if you're not learning the Kabbalah, we have the ability to learn it, and those who are learning it have a inyan to be mezaka es harabim. On that note, I'd like to wish everybody a very happy Lag BaOmer.